Hello, hello. It is story time. Are you ready for a fun story about a boot camp experience? I thought this was worth sharing. This just goes to show you that GLP-1 users and anyone who has been on a weight loss journey, we are not lazy and we definitely do have willpower. Now we know, and research has proven, that being overweight for some of us is not a choice. Enjoy this boot camp story told live. Let's go. My boot camp experience. So at this boot camp, I was so motivated. I was so motivated to lose weight. I had the right mindset. At the boot camp, you were required to exercise 3 to 4 times a week. There were weekly weigh-ins. We had protein, we had veggies, that we had to eat. You were really not allowed to eat carbs, but you could eat fruits. I think you could eat like a grapefruit, so many times a week. It was, very structured, very strict, very like keto-ish, like no carbs, pretty much. Carbs were the enemy. And so the great thing about that boot camp is I lost weight fast. I remember I lost 50 pounds in 5 months. I was just looking slim and trim. I'll never forget, someone at my job, the custodian, had said, "Oh, I can see you're getting that, like, that Coke bottle shape." I was slimming down and, I was feeling good. And one of the great things about that boot camp is I made a few lifetime friends, which is, I'm friends with to this day. And we also exercise consistently. So like I said, you had to exercise at least 3 times. And then, I think I would sometimes go 4 and maybe even 5, but most of the time I did the 3. When I started out, I think I was doing 4 and 5. And then as you can see, when I started to share how it kind of went downhill, I didn't even want to go the 3 times. But it was still consistent. And you were required to keep a food log, and it was checked. So every week when you went to weigh in, she checked that food log. And if there was something on that log you should not have, it was not good. So, which is why I needed that, because I needed that accountability, that kind of like fear of you better keep this together. You better, stay on track. And so I needed that, but I didn't like it. So my struggles there at the boot camp was when I started to get closer to that 50 pounds, I was just so bored by that time with eating, like just eating like meat and vegetables. It just was just terrible. And one other thing I wanted to share is that I want to say this was maybe like in 2000, was it 2012 or 2000? Maybe it was 2008, 2009. I can't even remember the year, but I haven't eaten beef or pork since then, because that's another thing on the plan. You cannot eat beef. You cannot eat pork. You can only eat lean chicken, fish, and turkey. And even though, I've put on pounds over the years, that's all I eat. I don't eat beef. I don't eat pork. So it's been, a very long time. And so I was so bored though with eating, and that's probably another reason why, even my protein choices were limited. So I started to go to Weight Watchers. I thought, I am not doing this. She's not going to know. I'm still going to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. I'm going to go to Weight Watchers. And I was still losing, but I was losing very slowly. Like Weight Watchers, that first week you lose water weight, you lose 3 to 4 pounds, and you get super excited thinking next week you're going to lose 3 to 4 pounds. And no, you end up losing, you lose your 1 to 2 pounds. And so this was Weight Watchers though back, 15 years ago. This is not like the new Weight Watchers where the points are different now. And, you have a list of foods that you can eat unlimited. That wasn't the case back then. But I was still losing. So, I would go to the boot camp and you weighed in, and I remember she would be sitting there and she would look at your, first of all, she didn't treat you nice because, it was kind of like the idea was like military. She's strict, she's tough. And I mean, she did not crack a smile. Only time she cracked a smile is if she was talking to her husband or somebody who also worked there. And so, I remember she would take my sheet and I would walk up there and she would say, she'd look my sheet up and down and she'd say, "You're a closet eater." And I would just look at her and smile, and she would say, "Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're a closet eater." And in my mind, I would be thinking, I'm eating not what's on that sheet, but I'm not in the closet. I'm eating out where everybody can see me. But she didn't know that. I take that back. She did know that, but I still would lose that 1 to 2 pounds. And so I think she knew, because she always used to talk about how your body should look a certain way when you're working out and you're eating protein and vegetables, you're eating clean. So she could tell if you're eating, carbs that you shouldn't be. She could tell how your body was losing. And honestly, I think she was right, because she would have me pegged. And, of course, I wasn't putting that I was, eating spaghetti, but a lot of less of spaghetti. I had portion controlled it. She just somehow knew. And she would always smile. She would always, treat me really nice. I think she developed a little bit of a soft spot for me. And no matter what she did, I smiled. And I'm still kind of like that to this day. Like, no matter what she did, I had a smile on my face. And so she would, say, yeah, she's like, yeah, I know you're eating. I know you're eating when you're not supposed to be eating. And so, like I said, I would just, just pretend like, just pretend like I really didn't know that, she was on to me, but I knew she was on to me. And so I thought, I'm going to stick this out and see how long I could get away with it, because I'm still losing. I'm just not losing as fast. So I knew she knew something was up. And but she was still, taking my money every week. So I guess she thought, this is what she wants to do with her money. Now, she has been known to kick people out. Like, if people aren't losing, she would put you out of the boot camp. And so I was a little fearful of that. She might put me out. And then, so, but she didn't. Like I said, I think she kind of had a soft spot for me in a way. And there were times when I would hit that 3-pound loss, and she would just smile and, look at me like, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. So, but this is why the boot camp ended. And this is what pulled at my heartstrings. So there was one day, we were there. There was one incident that really wasn't really, I don't know if it was so much related to her, but there was a girl who was exercising, and all of a sudden she just fell and she started foaming at the mouth. And they were, of course, they were all in a panic. The people that worked there, they were going over to her and basically asking her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And, she couldn't talk. She had, she was foaming at the mouth. So they were giving her, give her, I think it was an orange. So basically, I think her blood sugar level had dropped dangerously low. So the ambulance had to be called. And, then she gave us this lecture when the ambulance left, how, we better not make her, look like she's telling us the wrong thing. You guys have to eat. You got to do this. You got to do that. She wasn't eating. She was dehydrated. And so I felt like she was blaming her. And maybe it was her fault, but I just think the pressure of being there under her scrutiny is probably what drove her, to that a little bit. But it just felt like she kind of flipped on the girl, and the compassion I saw just kind of left. And I just think that was like her boot camp way of being. I don't think that, she really, meant anything by it, but the impression I got was that. And so the thing that really made me leave is that one day we were, we were working out, and then it was time to weigh in. And this time she looked, sometimes she would just randomly come and look at your sheets in front of everybody. You would do it in front of everybody. It wouldn't be like off to the side. So this girl, she was a big girl. She was probably like 3 of me. And, I just give her a lot of credit that she was even there, trying to do something. So why did she write this on her sheet? I always ask myself to this day, like, why did she write this? But she wrote on her sheet that she had eaten donuts. So when I tell you, it still like tugs at my heart to this day. That lady said, "You're eating donuts as big as you are. You don't need to be looking at a donut. You don't need to eat a donut. What are you thinking? Are you crazy?" I mean, she just went off. And I mean, I started to tear up. I just felt like, oh my gosh, I felt like, I guess they call it secondhand embarrassment for someone. And so I was trying to look around, like, I hope nobody sees that I'm like tearing up, because I felt so bad for her. And I was trying not to look at my friend who was like standing, kind of nearby. And I didn't want anybody to see that I was like getting choked up. Well, as I, looked up because I was curious to see this girl's reaction, I just saw everybody else's faces that looked just like mine. We were just all in shock. We just felt so bad for her. And I just made that decision that day in that moment that I was not going back. And, I just thought like, I know maybe this is like an act and her gig, but I just cannot see anybody be humiliated like that and not want to speak up. And so I said, if I stay here, I'm going to be into it with this lady. And so, I just remember going home and on my way home, like praying for this girl and just hoping like, she gets the help that she needs and she didn't have to go to that extreme to get it. But I don't know that she ever came back. I don't know if she came back. I don't know if she left. Like I said, I didn't stay to find out. But, that was just my experience and my story. She still has some form of a boot camp here. And people still go and people are still losing. And, I hear she's turned over, a new leaf as far as she's very into like, vegan. So she's on the vegan side of things. So I just can imagine her saying, you ate that chicken. Why did you eat that chicken? So anyway, that's just not the place for me to be. I do need strict and I need accountability, but I don't need harsh. And I learned that the hard way. If I want harsh, I could just, I don't know, go somewhere else for that. I don't need to be, at a place that I'm going thinking you're feeling, safe and, you're feeling supported. And you just never know from day to day what was going to happen there. And so, like I said, for some people, it's great. For me, it just was not.